Well, we want to say welcome, welcome, welcome. Give yourselves a hand for showing up tonight and being so beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. Just go ahead and say it. Say it. So welcome to the ceremony tonight, and I'd like to start off by thanking you for welcoming, I don't know what Joplin High School considers to be the golden child. Some people have said this prodigy is the finest to ever be birthed from the hallowed halls of this fine institution. So I want to say thank you for my wife, who's sitting right here. She's, yeah, it's true, 4.2 GPA. I knew it was meant to be when I can count to 4.2. Right? And it's right. She said she wanted somebody tall, dark, and handsome. I said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Hey. I had more of it, Ryan. While we have you here, though, we're talking about the successes and the triumphs of folks who've come to this establishment. And I have a captive audience, so I'm going to use the next 2 minutes to tell you about my accomplishments. While I went to school here at Joplin High School. Now, you're not going to find it in your little books. That's okay. It may not be written and inscribed upon the walls. I'm fine with that. You guys can keep the applause too. But I've got a couple of records of my own. 1993, I hold the record for days in a row in ISS with Coach Ketchum. I mean, we ought to have something, right? My other, this probably won't be broken, but I just want to tell you, I have the sophomore record for the mile being run. The slowest. 22 minutes and 31 seconds was the top. I beat it by a minute. 23. And Coach Pace still calls me numbnuts to this day. So, tell him that whenever you see him next. Seriously, thank you guys for being here tonight. Some wonderful sponsors, wonderful people have helped to make this whole thing possible. We're going to get it all started with the president of the Joplin Schools Foundation, Gloria Turner.
Well, welcome to our honored guests tonight. We're so glad the people that are going into the Hall of Fame to have you here. And we welcome our community leaders, family members, school board members, administrators, principals, and teachers. Many of you here tonight have been to our previous banquets in the last 3 years, and we so appreciate your continued support for the foundation and what we try to do here. To those of you who are here for the first time, we hope you enjoy the evening and see the value in the work of the foundation. I'd like to first have you stand if you are a current or past member of the foundation. If you are a current or a past member of the foundation, please stand. Thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of hard workers here. I will say that we thank you for the work in making tonight happen, and a word of warning, work on next year's banquet begins next week. I'd like to thank also the Hall of Fame nominating committee and the selection committees for your hard work. Although we appreciate the hours that these individuals give to their jobs at researching and vetting the nominees, we do not publicize their names for obvious reasons. We don't want them to get calls in the middle of the night and that kind of thing. But many of them are here tonight and to see the results of their work. Also, I'd like to thank Glenda Austin, one of last year's Hall of Fame inductees, for providing the beautiful music you heard as you came in tonight. And thanks goes to Aaron Brown, the JHS Tech Guru, who helps us bring all of the visuals and the sounds together. Aaron is, he's real special to us because he's just there to help us when we have problems with the mics or the visuals, and he likes to be behind the scenes and not get any attention. But Aaron, I'm giving it to you tonight wherever you are up in the hinterlands. He is the silent force that we all appreciate. Also, Brad Douglas, who is the general manager of Jet HD TV, is here tonight to film this program for us.
Yeah.
In the past, we haven't had anyone filming it, and he graciously agreed to do that for us. It will be seen, I think he told me, on YouTube and also on the Foundation's webpage. We also want to thank the JHS maintenance and kitchen crew who have been here to help us. And Dr. Saketa, we thank him from the bottom of our hearts because his door is always open, or if it happens to be closed, his phone is always handy, and he answers immediately when we text or call with a problem. And of course, we want to say a special thank you to our sponsors who make this all happen. And now, if you are able, please stand for the presentation of the colors by the Joplin High School ROTC and our Pledge of Allegiance led by students from Irving Elementary School.
All right, give our color guard a big hand for coming in here this evening. All right, if you want to go ahead and we're going to start with our salads and meats. Man's got to eat. That's what we like to say around here. And we'll be right back, and we'll start a video for you. Pulling strings for providing the entertainment this evening. And our dinner being graciously catered by Mythos Restaurant. There's going to be 2 serving lines for your convenience, and we're going to dismiss a few tables at a time here in just a little bit. Before we go any further, though, with the evening, David Weaver, Joplin School Board member, will come to give the invocation. I'm not David Weaver. There we go.
Good evening and welcome. Let's bow, please. Lord, thank you for this evening that you have given us. Lord, we thank you for Joplin Schools and for the good work that they have done for many, many years. Lord, we lift up those tonight. We are thankful for this night to honor our distinguished award winners. We thank you for their efforts, for their service to their community. Lord, we pray for Joplin Schools, for our leadership, for Dr. Saketa, that you would give him wisdom as he leads us. Lord, we're thankful for the students that you've entrusted with us. Help us to prepare them well. Lord, we thank you for the kids starting all the way at kindergarten. And Father, all the excitement and energy that they bring. And Lord, to the class of 2026. Lord, we pray that we will have prepared them well for an ever-changing world. Lord, we pray this evening that you will bless this food, that you will help us to nourish our bodies and to give us strength. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen, amen. As the night proceeds on, I'd like to welcome to the stage. Are we ready? Here we go. The Foundation Board member, Mr. Don Swanson. Give a big hand if you could. They work very hard.
Good evening. I'm happy to report I ate that whole salad and didn't spill anything on me, so I'm clean. So through the work of the membership of the foundation, we develop our vision and mission for the future. Our vision is to provide all students inspiration, opportunities, and helping so that no dream is out of reach. Our mission is to advocate for the future of all students by connecting community members alumni, and donors with programs that enrich educational experiences and create a legacy for success. Tonight's banquet is one example of how we live out our vision and our mission. We created the Hall of Fame to honor inductees, to inspire students, and to invest in our students through scholarship programs. We currently are evaluating the scholarship parameters and to make the program even stronger in the future. In addition, we are working to grow the scholarship funds so that more students can receive financial help from the foundation to further their education. Thank you to those who have been so faithful in helping us achieve our goals and to help students. This has been done through fundraisers, individual donations, and endowments. Through these avenues, we were able to present 33 scholarships last year from $500 to $5,000 each. We also were able to update materials in the library, install computers in each school, and my favorite, add security cameras to ensure the safety of our kids. Again, thank you for your support.
All right, you're gonna have to applaud louder than that because we got a lot of applause to give tonight. Come on, let's practice just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now, I have been bribed, and I'm going to take bids who want the tables want to go first. Okay, would you hear 100, 150 right here? No? Okay. Well, we have to start with number 1. That's what I hear. It just happens to be the Stanley family. Of course. All right, we're going to start with this front row and we're going to dismiss. And if you could, there's 2 serving lines right outside. Again, thanks to Mythos for catering. Go ahead and be dismissed to these first tables and we'll release by rows. All right, how's the dessert? We got a thumbs up? I saw some horse trading going on around from table to table. I'm like, people, we're at a real event here, not home. All right. Hey, thanks again to Mythos. A wonderful job. Give them a big hand. And the committee that did the decorating this evening. Come on. Phenomenal. And of course, the rolling strings and the beautiful piano music that played while we were enjoying our meal. And thank you to everybody who's taken a part in it, especially the sponsors that make this thing possible. Now to the reason we are really here, to get me off stage. And the Hall of Fame induction. Over the last 3 years, we've included 11 incredible alumni into the Hall. That includes Dr. Emerson Falk, Mr. Jim Goodnight, Mrs. Mary Curtis Warren, Dr. Catherine Brown, Mr. Henry Robertson, Ms. Sally Beard, General Howie Chandler, nice name, General, Mr. Joe Newman, Dr. Mitch Stinnett, Mrs. Glenda Austin, and Mr. Kyle Craig. If we have any of these individuals tonight, could you stand and be recognized, please? Yes, stand on up. I know, you're shy. This year we have another incredible group, as always, to honor, as you will soon see. But first, for the 2025 Meritorious Award, we're honoring Mr. Jack Holden. This award goes to a person who may or may not be the graduate of Joplin Schools, but who has served our schools and community in many ways.
This year's Meritorious Award winner, chosen for his outstanding dedication to Joplin Schools and our community, is Jack Thomas Holden, beloved educator and longtime voice of the Eagles. Born December 26, 1921 in Joplin, Missouri, Jack was a late Christmas present for his parents, Finley and Lorena Mosley Holden. He attended Joplin Schools, graduating in 1939 from Joplin High. He attended Joplin Junior College, graduating in 1941. While in school, he played the trombone in the band and orchestra. A proud veteran, Jack served in the Army Signal Corps during both World War II and the Korean conflict, and attained the rank of Sergeant First Class. Following the wars, Jack earned a Bachelor of Science degree in 1955 from Kansas State College in Pittsburgh, and later a master's degree from there as well. Following college and military service, Jack returned to Joplin High School, where he was a social studies teacher for 30 years. His classes included civics, geography, American history, and contemporary issues. In addition to the classes, Jack was involved in many extracurricular activities. For many years, he was a sponsor of the Student Council, the senior class, and homecoming activities. And for 10 years, he was a sponsor and director with his brother Russell of the Top Hatters, a girls' drum and bugle corps. A few of us here will probably remember that Jack was the announcer for JHS football games and was proud to have never missed a home game. Jack was perhaps most visible in his role as the official scorekeeper for basketball games during his entire 30-year tenure in Joplin. For his loyalty to JHS sports, he was honored by the Joplin High School Athletic Boosters Club in 1989 with a new award for graduating seniors. It's called the Jack Holden Award for Academic Excellence and is still being given to athletes today. A second award, given in 1994 by the Missouri Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, was presented to Jack for his distinguished service as the voice of the Joplin High School Eagles and the Parkwood Bears for more than 25 years. Jack was also inducted in the Joplin Sports Hall of Fame in 2006. In addition to his many career duties, Jack was a faithful advocate for the American Legion. He was business manager for the Joplin American Legion baseball team from 1953 to 1955 and was on the Missouri State Commission for American Legion Baseball from 1954 to 1955. From 1985 to 1996, he was the local announcer and scoreboard operator for the games played at Joe Becker Stadium. He was also a commander of American Legion Post 13 in Joplin. After his retirement, Mr. Holden researched and wrote the history of the Joplin Post 13. He later spent many hours, months even, researching material for the history of the Joplin School District. In 2002, Mr. Holden was chosen to receive the Book of Golden Deeds Award from the Joplin Exchange Club. Jack T. Holden passed away on Wednesday, October 24, 2012. This quiet, unassuming man will always be remembered as an inspiring educator and a dedicated servant of Joplin schools and the Joplin community. Thank you, Jack Holden, for the example you set for thousands of Joplin students.
A big hand for the voice. Accepting the award for Mr. Holden tonight is his nephew, Mr. Robert Holden. If you could come over here to the stage. Oh, we're coming up here? All right. I think I can get up there. Hold it over there.
Didn't know I was going to have to say something, but I'm happy to say something about my uncle. He was a second dad to me, and he talked about boy, that was a wonderful presentation, Gloria. She did that, I think. It was really fine. My wife and I both graduated from Joplin High School back in 62 and 63, and I never had him in class. He was teaching at that time, and I think he was probably lucky. But I don't know. I think I've heard so many good things about him. I know he demanded quite a bit, but he was one of the kindest people I've ever known. Very patient. Now, in the classroom, I have no idea because I was not there. But some of you may know that. Before you, I don't want you to throw things out. Is the food all off the tables? Okay. After I graduated from high school, I went to, I went on out to Denver University. But the thing that was so interesting about, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit, I don't have anything prepared. This is off the cuff, so as you can tell. But I then went on to teach at Parkview High School. And I remember sitting in basketball games, and watching the games, and of course they were always heated because, Coach Kaminsky and the Parkview coaches, who were good friends of mine. I was the band and orchestra teacher there at Parkview. And so I remember not liking them at all, and then I went and taught there. So I found out that they were good. I'm just honored to be here to say something about Uncle Jack. And school was his home. He loved the kids. Now sometimes he might got upset with you in class, but he loved you. I never heard him say a thing bad about the staff or the kids. It was just, he just loved being here and loved teaching. I think when I saw that they had named a street after him, I could not believe that. That was one of the neatest things I'd ever seen. And it happened because we had left Joplin and we were kind of lost, and Jack was gone, and we just came to town and looked, and there's his name on this street that leads right to the high school. And so that was really special. And then this foundation award, really thank you for that. Gloria, thank you for getting us here and letting us know about this. Wonderful man, and he was he did so much for this school, and he loved it. So, thank you.
Got to take a selfie here. It didn't happen. Another big hand for Jack Hall. Another big hand. The voice of the Eagles. Got to remember that. And now for our first. Ba, 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 ba. I come with sound effects too. Our first Hall of Fame inductee tonight is Austin Allen.
Austin Allen was a revered Joplin architect that designed some of Joplin's most iconic structures. In just 14 years, Allen accomplished what most architects could only dream of in their lifetime. Among his most notable designs in Joplin include the Olivia Apartments, the Elks Club, Newman's Department Store, Joplin Theater, United Hebrew Congregation Temple, St. Peter the Apostle Catholic Church, and Joplin High School. The majority of those buildings are listed on the prestigious National Register of Historic Places. Samuel Austin Allen was born August 8, 1881 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. 10 years later, he arrived in Joplin with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. J.W. Allen. Austin's father, John Whitby Allen, was the superintendent of Marion Mining Company. His son Austin, upon graduating from Joplin High School in 1898, entered the University of Pennsylvania. Austin Allen received a Bachelor of Science degree in architecture in 1902. Austin Allen married Belle Taylor. They had 3 boys, Austin Jr., Andrew, and John Whitby. Unexpectedly, his career ended when he passed on March 1, 1917, at the young age of 36 at St. John's Hospital from typhoid fever. His body is interred inside an elegant Egyptian-styled mausoleum at Mount Hope Cemetery. The Allen Mausoleum is like so many of the magnificent pieces of sculpted stone that grace the grounds at Mount Hope. Established in 1905, this final resting place for the departed is a testimony to another brilliant designer, landscaper extraordinaire Sid Hare. It is fitting that both Hare and Allen would leave an everlasting impression on this culturally significant landmark. On the east wall of Allen's mausoleum, a resolution from the chapter of the Kansas City Architects reads, Whereas in the death of Mr. Austin Allen, the Kansas City chapter of the American Institute of Architects loses a member beloved for his probity of character and honored for his professional attainments. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Kansas City chapter of the American Institute of Architects hereby records its feelings of irreparable loss to the public and the architectural profession in the death of Mr. Allen, and its appreciation of his services and loyalty to the tradition of the profession. Today, we are blessed to have many of Allen's buildings intact and still in use. His last project was designing the Joplin High School at 8th and Wall. Unfortunately, Allen would never see the completion of this building due to his untimely death. One can assume that the Joplin High School building would have had special meaning to him since he was a former JHS graduate. Allen's historic structures tell stories that give meaning to our lives. His buildings bring us together through shared memories. As guideposts to the past, they are insightful snapshots to a particular era defined by the architectural style, materials, and craftsmen that built them. We are extremely fortunate to have preserved most of Allen's creations, for they ground us and provide inspiration, solace, and steadiness in an ever-changing world.
Wow. Accepting for Mr. Allen is Brad Belk.
Good evening. As the years pass, the true character of communities will be defined by the historic places they save, protect, and preserve. Our historic structures are the connective tissue linking us to generations past, present, and future. Austin Allen was a prolific architect who left a lasting impression on the region's building landscape. His elegantly designed landmarks remain testimony to his talent and continue to be some of Joplin's most admired and honored building blocks. Still functional today, the best part of his work is we are able to frequently interact with many of these century-old structures. Allen graduated from Joplin High School in 1898. From there, he furthered his education at the University of Pennsylvania. Allen received a Bachelor of Science degree in architecture in 1902. At the university, he was involved in several school organizations, but particularly excelled as a track athlete, winning several medals in various running events. During the summer after his graduation, he, along with 3 fellow University of Pennsylvania track stars, traveled across the Atlantic to participate in a coronation athletic tournament for King Edward of Great Britain. Following the track meet, his most meaningful experience lay ahead when he toured parts of Europe, observing the amazing architecture on display. This was a defining moment in this young architect's life, to observe firsthand the Grand Master's work that showcased some of the world's greatest buildings. Yes, he had seen them in textbooks, but to view them in person was a life-changing experience. During this time, he briefly studied in Paris. Allen's European vacation provided inspiration and guidance for a profession he would soon practice in Midwestern America. Allen returned to his home in Joplin and began practicing architecture, designing a variety of commercial, educational, spiritual, residential, and fraternal structures. He utilized a wide range of popular revival styles of architecture that dominated the 19th century building scene in America. It is not just the diversity of styles that Allen used, but it is his application of each style he so masterfully incorporated in each design that is so impressive. Unfortunately and quite tragic, his amazing career was short-lived. Allen passed on March 1, 1917, at the young age of 36 at St. John's Hospital from typhoid fever. His body is interred inside a graceful Egyptian-styled mausoleum at Mount Hope Cemetery. The mausoleum is a fitting tribute to his profession and makes a grand, lasting statement as a permanent home for the departed. To Austin Allen, working as a practicing architect was spiritually significant. His profession defined him, adding exact meaning to his life. The confirming proof can be found in his epitaph, and an inscription on Allen's mausoleum wall reads, Austin Allen, graduate class, 1902, architecture, University of Pennsylvania, born August 8, 1881, died March 1, 1917. Just think, of all the things he could have selected from his family and life accomplishments, he chose graduate class of 1902 Architecture, University of Pennsylvania. Clearly to him, this was a lifetime achievement. Since Mr. Allen cannot be with us tonight, I thought it'd be fun to share some of his words. My source is from a Christmas Day Joplin Globe article dated Sunday, December 25th, 1904. The column is titled, quite simply, Architecture by Austin Allen. The following insightful statements give further meaning into this passionate practitioner and how he viewed his craft as a professional architect at the young age of 24. Allen writes, "To be an architect, in it you must tend to combine a feeling for the beautiful with the practical problems of every day. Without the former, your life's work as regarded by posterity will be a failure. Without the latter, you will probably, as far as your profession is concerned, be in poverty while you live." In the article, Allen continues emphasizing 3 points. First, the power of analysis, to delve into deep problems of the past, or to be more exact, to have that power that will enable you to take such a grand piece of architectural planning as St. Peter's at Rome and to resolve it into its elements, to pick out the good points and discard the bad. Second, the power of imagination. In this, I would wish you to have the ability to conceive new ideas and to be able to construct and to build up out of your own mind works of rare beauty and construction. Third, the power of patience and perseverance. Without this, others are wasted, for it's only after long, painstaking work and plenty of persistence that satisfactory results can be accomplished. And remember that if you should be chosen to reach the highest pinnacle, that you stand at the head of not only your profession, but you stand at the head of the grandest profession in the world. End quote. In closing, I pose the question, is it possible that we overlook the true meaning of our public buildings? Austin Allen's buildings have enriched our lives through a lifetime of stories captured within their walls. It's not just the building style, size, or material components, but the lifetime of personal stories stored inside. Places matter. They are impactful spaces. How can anyone go into the Newman Building, the Joplin High School, St. Peter's Church, or the Jewish Temple without recalling something from the past? They cannot. Upon entering these structures, a cascade of personal recollections begins to flow. It's these treasure trove of memories that help define us and make our lives unique. It's a monumental honor to speak for Mr. Allen, to recognize and to reintroduce a Joplin legend 108 years later after his passing. Born 2 centuries ago, Allen is our oldest Joplin High School Hall of Fame recipient. We are forever grateful to Austin Allen for leaving an indelible mark on Joplin's building landscape. I'm truly humbled to speak on his behalf and proudly accept his Joplin High School Hall of Fame award he so richly deserves. Thank you, and thanks for coming out tonight and supporting this enlightening evening of shared memories.
Anytime I want to sound really smart, I listen to him. Amazing, amazing. We continue on with the evening, and real quick, the technical crew here tonight, Brad Douglas and everybody, they're doing an amazing job. Aaron doing a great job. Give them a big hand, will you please? Because here we stand in world-class facilities. I don't think everybody at large realizes what a world-class facility this is. And not only has history been made through here, but there's history still to be made. There really is. I mean, right in this place and in these halls. And you're proof of that here tonight. So thank you guys for being here. I'm just honored to be here along with my wife, Tam. We continue. Thank you, Mr. Buck. We appreciate you. We'd like to invite Vance to the stage. Our next inductee is Mr. Vance Powell.
Vance Powell is an 8-time Grammy and 6-time CMA award-winning producer, engineer, and mixer, whose impressive list of credits includes Chris Stapleton, Fish, Trey Anastasio, Elle King, Arctic Monkeys, C6 Steve, Jeff the Brotherhood, the Raconteurs, the White Stripes, the Dead Weather, and many others. As a proud graduate of Parkwood High School class of 1982, Vance's professional journey began just across the state line in Galena, Kansas, at Sgt. Pepper's, a live music venue and local hub for talent and creativity. It was there that he got his start running sound for bands and learning the art of live audio, an experience that ignited a lifelong pursuit of excellence in music. Vance quickly expanded into live touring, working as a front-of-house engineer for Missouri-based bands, and recorded his first studio session in 1986 at Massey Studios, just a few blocks from Parkwood High School. That hands-on experience paved the way for a move to Nashville, where he worked with music legend Tammy Wynette, and later joined Clair Brothers Audio, a premier live sound company. By 2002, Vance was recruited by longtime friend John McBride to help build and lead operations at Blackbird Studio, an 8-room recording complex in Nashville. His work as chief engineer helped to elevate the status of the studio as a cornerstone of the industry. 2003 marked Vance's first Grammy Award win at the 45th Grammy Awards for engineering Jars of Clay's The 11th Hour, Best Pop Contemporary Gospel Album. In 2006, Vance co-founded Sputnik Sound with producer Mitch Dane, a private studio in the Berry Hill neighborhood of Nashville, which has become the creative headquarters for Vance's extensive list of credits. Powell is a longtime collaborator with Jack White, working extensively with his groups, including the Raconteurs, the White Stripes, the Dead Weather, as well as many of White's production jobs, such as Wanda Jackson's The Party Ain't Over, and Alicia Keys' production of Another Way to Die from the James Bond film Quantum of Solace. In 2009, the Raconteurs' Consolers of the Lonely won the Grammy for Best Engineered Album Non-Classical, which would mark Vance's second Grammy win. He would receive further nominations for his work with White for Album of the Year for Blunderbuss, and Best Alternative Music Album and Best Rock Song for Lazaretto. In 2015, Chris Stapleton's album Traveler, engineered by Powell, won 3 Country Music Association awards, including Album of the Year. He also received 4 Grammy nominations for Album of the Year, Best Country Album, Best Country Song, Traveler, Best Country Solo Performance, Best Country Song, and won the Grammy for Best Country Album and Best Country Solo Performance. Powell also won the Grammy in 2018 and 2021 for Best Country Album, mixing and engineering Stapleton's albums From a Room Volume 1 and Starting Over. Powell continues to work closely with Stapleton in the studio and overseeing live recordings. Beyond the studio, Vance has become a passionate educator and mentor, sharing his knowledge and experience with aspiring engineers around the world. Through his work with PureMix.com, one of the world's leading online platforms for audio education, Vance has guided countless young professionals. His mentoring videos have received over 49 million views, making him a global resource for creativity, technique, and encouragement in the music production field. Whether on international speaking engagements, on camera, behind the console, or in conversation with up-and-coming talent, Vance leads with generosity and authenticity, traits that continue to shape the next generation of music makers. Powell's peers and artists consistently highlight both his technical brilliance and his easygoing, collaborative nature. In an interview with Tape On magazine, Vance summed up his creative philosophy. "I think the most important thing is to make records that you want to listen to. If you don't want to listen to it, why should anyone else?" That spirit of authenticity and artistic integrity has defined his work and endeared him to artists and collaborators across the globe. From mixing local bands at Sgt. Pepper's in Galena, to producing Grammy-winning records in Nashville, to mentoring millions through PureMix.com, Vance Powell's story is one of passion, perseverance, and global impact. His career is a blueprint for what it means to follow your creative instincts while lifting others along the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vance Powell.
Okay, well, that was really impressive. Whoever did that, I need to hire you to be my new publicist. I don't have a publicist. Okay, so I didn't plan anything, but I have some stuff here that I want to talk about real quick. I want to talk about my time at Parkwood. First of all, it took me 10 semesters to graduate. That wasn't good, if you know what I'm saying. I had a little anger issue my sophomore year. It happens, I hear. So yeah, I did summer school, graduated late, that was awesome. But I did have a few teachers that I really look back on fondly. And so I want to thank them. First and foremost, Lewis McMillan was my electronics teacher at Franklin Tech. Mr. Milo Harris, who somehow understood that I knew what the homework was, even though I didn't turn it in, because I would ace the test. And then I just said thank you. So thank you, Milo, for not failing me. Roger Buchanan, who was art teacher, who somehow, even though I couldn't paint my way out of a box, you should see our house, somehow saw some sort of artistic thing and kept like giving me things to do. His cohort at the time, Margaret Wheeler, who was a more physical thing, she was fantastic. Mr. Ray Van, who failed me my sophomore year. I had to go back and do again. Somehow my junior year connected, and I love history. I'm a steel trap of dumb history things. If anybody just ask me later anything, I'll be happy to spin it out for you. Mrs. Mills, thanks for not sending me home. Mr. Bradley, thanks for not calling the police. Jack Bradley. But there's a few other people that I really need to thank. A couple of them are here. Mr. Bob Massey and his young son, Rick. Bob Massey did something that no music store owner should ever do. First of all, I'm the worst guitar player on the planet. I'm also the worst keyboard player. I'm the worst drummer. I'm the worst bass player. I am bad at all of those things. I own all of those things in multiples, and I am terrible at all of them. But Bob would let me sit in the little keyboard room with the ARP 2600 or ARP Odyssey and go, and he would just be like, hey, close the door. Close the door. And I would be in there just like, you know, and then pretty soon he'd be like, all right, I think that's enough. But it was a long time before that happened. I have to thank Rick, because Rick gave me my very first studio job. And I remember this, and I've told this story a lot, so that's how I remember it. It's probably not exactly true, but we don't exactly let the truth get in the way of a great story, right? As we all have grown up to know. But a friend of mine, who's sitting right over there, asked me to do a session, Greg Krutzinger, asked me to do a session at Rick's. And I don't exactly remember if someone was sick or whoever had done his session before, but Greg asked me to do it. I went down there, and Rick kind of gave me the, you know, things go in here. These are gazins, these are gazouts, you know, this goes that way, that goes this way, this thing goes like that. You know, hit the buttons. But sometime around 6, when he normally goes home, he came in, he stood back there at the back of the room while we were making some rock and roll, you know. And he goes, here's a key. Come see me tomorrow. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you sure? He's like, well, I know where you live. You know, I know where you live, like right down the street. And because I lived on 2428 Iowa, right over here. Long gone now, but right over there. And I said, okay, I'll come tomorrow and bring you your key. And he's like, no, you're the new engineer for the studio. You're better than us. And I said, I don't even know how half of this works. And he's like, I'll teach you that. Come in whenever you want. Come in and learn. And so I did. I was touring with the band at that time. This is 1986. I want to give you guys a level of success. In 1986, according to the Social Security Administration, my income for the year of 1986 was $636 total for that year. I kind of lived in a van. I was on the road with a band. And I think Rick paid me $5 an hour to work at the studio. And I got to tell you, that was pretty good. $5. And so I was kind of working for Rick, but I was doing this touring thing. It was great. And then the band kind of blew up, and Rick offered me a job at his company. And that was a shift because I had to go to work in the morning. I still don't go to work in the morning. I got into this business to not wear a suit. Oh well. And to not go to work in the morning, but I do go to work in the morning, so it's all funny. But I went to work for Rick, and I worked for Rick for a couple of years, I think 1988 and 1989. And I'm going to say this right now, the best thing that Rick Massey ever did to me, ever did for me and to me, is lay me off on Christmas Eve. It's a long story, it doesn't matter, but things were tight, and you had to lay me off. And what happened was, and I don't want to go too deep into this because you can read the internet, there's a lot of this yucky yak on the internet, but I had to figure it out. Now there's one other one I'm gonna throw out, and that is in about 1983, I was going to college at Missouri Southern. I had a scholarship, and I blew off a couple classes and lost the scholarship, and I had to pay for school myself. And then in 1983, the end of '83, my mother and I were on our way to the mall. We were just going over this story, and she asked me when I was going back to school. And I said, oh, well, about that, I think I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to do the band thing, kind of, do that. And she said, oh, okay, when did you figure that out? I said, oh, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. She goes, okay, cool. Where are you going to live? And I went, well, she goes, well, if you're not going to college, you're not living at home. That was the first best thing that ever happened to me, because I suddenly had to figure out what I was gonna do. The second was Rick Massey. I figured out that I was gonna go move to Springfield, Missouri, and go to work at this club. That was terrible. It was a terrible place. But there was a guy up there that I wanted to go to work for named Lou Whitney, who is one of my mentors, great mentors. And I ended up working at that club for about a year. It was terrible. And I was homeless for a little bit, slept in my van. And then I found some roommates and moved in. It was great. And I went to work for my friend Lou Whitney. And I worked for Lou for a couple of years. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. It was great. He passed a couple of years ago, and I really, really miss him. He was a good one. He didn't really teach me anything about the recording studio, technically. He just taught me how to treat people, how to be funny, how to make great jokes, and sometimes at people's expense. Because, musicians are sometimes idiots. There's no two ways about it. And other than a good way of diffusing things with humor and all, he taught me a couple amazing quotes. And I'll give you one of them. One of them was, one man's boy howdy is another man's far out. This is talking about music or anything, basically, right? But then sometime in the 2000s, I went to see him. He's like, yeah, I updated it. Now it's one man's OMGs, another man's WTF. So kind of updated it to the new paradigm. I'm not going to talk too long here because I really can, even though I didn't talk about anything. I could really talk for a long time. So part of the thing that I want to talk about is that for anybody that's, you can watch this video and that it's all this, it's all the high points, it's all the great points. I've been homeless 4 times in my life. When I say homeless, it's just I didn't have a house to go to. I had a van in 1985 and I lived in it for a bit. I had a van, in the same van actually, in 1990 when I moved to Springfield, and I lived in it for a few days. Not for a long time. Wasn't in a van down by the river or anything like that. Those of you who get that joke, but wasn't like that. But I did get a job in Nashville, working for Tammy Wynette, and I commuted from Springfield to Nashville every week. 440 miles every week, because I didn't know a single soul in Nashville. When I finally did have to move to Nashville, I stayed at a motel that we would now probably call a not very civil hotel. Maybe there was some business going on there of sorts. Maybe you guys, nothing that happens around here. Big city stuff. But it was $25 a night and it worked for me. But I finally did I went to work for Tammy Wynette, and I worked for her for a long time. I then ran into the singer Martina McBride at a show. I knew her husband, he was from Wichita. I met him at Sgt. Pepper's. And at some point in about 1997, he called me and offered me a job. Tammy's career was not doing very good. She was very ill. She was a really great person who just tended to fall in love with really bad men. You can read about that. But I took a job with Martina. I worked for her for about 8 or 9 months, and Martina became pregnant. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. I'm just kidding. I know how that happened. Although I didn't have anything to do with it. Because they toured together, John and Martina. So they're married, that whole thing. But I ended up taking a job through a couple different things with the band Jars of Clay. And Jars of Clay is an amazing Christian rock band. And while I worked for them, we would always do stupid things like try to record songs in the shower of a venue, which sounds bad, but it's actually kind of cool, right? We had a little portable recorder. We'd go in there with a drum set. And so in 2001, the end of 2000, I was asked to make a Christmas record. That Christmas record ended up being 11 and a half months long, finished on September 10, 2001. That was fun. And then we were supposed to go get all the gear the next day, and that obviously didn't happen. But that record came out and was my first Grammy win. I had gotten a call earlier that I'd been nominated months earlier that we were nominated, but I didn't have any idea if it would win. So I'm going to tell the story. Hopefully it's not too off color. I was doing something, which I'll tell you in a minute, and Dan Hasseltine, the singer from Jars of Clay, called, and he said, well, it's official. You're an Grammy award-winning engineer. And I said, wow. And he goes, so remember what you're doing right now forever, because this is the moment your career changes. And I go, oh yeah, okay. And he goes, so what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm actually spraying dog crap off my porch. it was winter and they don't like to go in the snow, so, and it was cold. I mean, I wouldn't want to go in the snow either, so it warmed up. It's out there. And his exact words were, perfect. That's the perfect place for you to be. Because awards don't mean anything. Not that this one does. This one's great. But awards don't mean anything because it's, you know, it is what it is. I've been blessed to be around a lot of really talented people and to be in the room when some of the most amazing music that I've ever heard in my life has been played. I have goosebumps right now talking about that, the memory of that. That is the deal. If you keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, keep doing the thing that you love, no matter what it is, as best you can do it, through everything, through, you know, everything. And believe me, it's been a long, hard road. For about 6 years of my life, I got up at 8 in the morning, went to Blackbird, made sure the people who were working at Blackbird were good, went over to Jack White's house, worked with him till 6:30, then drove to my studio and worked till midnight, 5 days a week, every week. That's hard on your life. It's hard on your wife. It's hard on your family, your kids, and it's hard on you. But it was worth it in the long run. So this honor is bizarre to me because it's so, high school is so long ago and I was such an idiot. You saw the pictures. I mean, come on. Who is that guy? But I really do. I have to think, the very last thing, thank you, is my parents. Liz and Virgil, my mom is here. My dad passed last June before last. So I wish he was here. But you know what they never did? They never asked me. They never said once when I was out there on the road doing stupid things. Now think about this. In 1985, I was on the road in a band, a bunch of 22-year-old kids in a van with no cell phone. And a Rand McNally laminated map to get from place to place. We toured in 1986, winter of 1986. My pay was $5 a day. That was our food. That's what the band gave ourselves for food, $5 a day. Back in those days, for $4.99, you could get the free Wendy's buffet. Remember when Wendy's had the salad bar? We would hit the salad bar in Indianapolis and just wipe it out. Because that's all the money we had. But my parents, my mother specifically, never said, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to, like, become a, normal person? Never, ever, ever did they ever say that. So I have to thank them more than anybody. Thank you. Blew it. Supposed to film it. Somebody else send me it, right?
Exactly. The Rand McNally Tour. I believe that's what it was called in 1985.
Thank you, everyone.
Another big hand. That's Powell. He's my spirit animal. Whenever I finally hit puberty, I want to grow a beard like that. So you're saying that?
Takes a long time. 1989.
1989. His beard's older than I am, I think. Nuh-uh. Who said nuh-uh? Well, they bring hecklers. Got one over here and one over here. Yeah. All right. Our third inductee tonight is Mrs. Debi Vowels-Durham. Video.
From the classrooms of Joplin's Parkwood High School to the state capitals of the Midwest, Debi Durham's journey has been defined by bold leadership, fearless innovation, and a lifelong commitment to helping communities thrive. Debi graduated from Parkwood High School in 1978 and continued her education at Missouri Southern State College, graduating in 1984. With her roots firmly planted in Joplin, she embarked on a career dedicated to creating opportunity and revitalizing communities. In her 20s, Debi became president of the Miami, Oklahoma Chamber of Commerce before moving on to Sioux City, Iowa. There, she became the first woman to lead the Sioux City Chamber, and later the Siouxland Chamber and the Siouxland Initiative. With her trademark phrase, "How hard could it be?" she brought together communities across Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota into one of the most successful regional partnerships in the nation. During her tenure, the Sioux City MSA earned its very first #1 in the nation ranking for economic development. As Regina Roth recalled, Debi is a tiny woman with Herculean powers. If you had a picture of Sioux City in 1994, put it next to a picture of Sioux City today, you would see what I mean. Debi was the catalyst for much of that change. In 2011, Debi was appointed as the first woman to lead the Iowa Economic Development Authority. By 2019, she also assumed leadership of the Iowa Finance Authority, overseeing housing, infrastructure, and financing programs across the state. Current Governor Kim Reynolds stated, "Under Debi's leadership, Iowa has attracted tens of billions in new investment and thousands of jobs, all with a streamlined team of 200 employees." But Debi has always looked beyond numbers, championing quality of life projects that make communities more vibrant and competitive. Former Iowa Governor and U.S. Ambassador to China, Terry Branstad, praised her vision, noting, "Under her direction and guidance, Iowa has eliminated taxes on retirement benefits, moved to a 3.8% flat tax rate, and catapulted the state into the best shape it has ever been. Truly the envy of other governors." We thank Debi Durham for this each and every day. Debi's impact has earned her recognition as one of the most influential business leaders, a woman of influence, and an award-winning advocate for innovation and growth. Yet she has remained grounded in the spirit of service she first discovered here in Joplin. From Parkwood High School in Missouri Southern to Siouxland and the entire state of Iowa, Debi Durham has proven that one determined leader can shape not only economies, but the future of communities and the lives of people who call them home. It is with great pride that we welcome Debi Durham into the Joplin Schools Hall of Fame.
Please welcome Mrs. Debi Vowels-Durham.
Well, good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank the members of the selection committee and to all of the other honorees tonight. Congratulations. I also want to thank my loved ones who are with me tonight. My parents, my sister Sherry, and brother Brian and Letitia, and of course my husband Joel and our son Bo, who just flew in today from New York. I didn't know he was coming in. An architect himself, by the way. My daughter Jordan and her son Alex. Vicki Meisler's here, you know, my best friend since middle school, and of course my dear friend Cherie Janney, who opened so many doors for me throughout my career. I love you all. And of course my aunt Phyllis and Tom. It's great to be home in Joplin, and we always look forward to coming back, as does my whole family. Even our golden doodle Brinson gets excited when we turn into mom and dad's neighborhood because he knows where he's going. He loves my dad, or Paco as his grandchildren fondly call him. You know, I'm deeply honored by what brought me home this time, this Hall of Fame recognition, but I do have to say I was a bit surprised and a bit reluctant that I even made the cut. The truth is, in high school, I was a bit of a free spirit, Vance. I'm not sure I even liked high school, to be honest. In fact, I spent so much time with Mrs. Mills, the attendance officer, let's just say we were really good friends by the end of all of it. But lucky for me, this word is about what happens after high school. It's true, I saw my education as a means to an end. I graduated, went to college, married Joel, my high school sweetheart, and we moved away. Joel's career took us to Oklahoma and to Iowa, where we still live today. And in my own career, as Iowa's chief salesperson, I've traveled the world, including 2 trips to India just this past year to nurture both trade and investment opportunities. But you know, when I consider my path to this moment, I have to think of my roots. Who am I today is where I came from. First, I learned here at home that unlocking our potential starts with simply believing in it. My mother worked her way up from secretary to a position of a stockbroker with A.G. Edwards, and I grew up thinking this was normal for the era. Of course, it was not normal. My father was also an exceptional man of his time as well for believing his daughters could, quite frankly, do anything. My English teacher, Mrs. Campbell, taught me that living up to my potential actually requires real effort, not just going through the motion. Mrs. Campbell told me my schoolwork was certainly worthy of an A, but that I was capable of much more, and she wouldn't give me an A until I gave her 100%. As it turns out, I did some of my very best work in her class. Second, it was in Joplin that I caught the first glimpse of what would be my professional destiny. When I was 16, I actually broke my neck in a car accident and was sidelined from school for a few months. I've never been one to sit still, but here I was with a brand new driver's license and nowhere to go. Well, Mr. Zeke offered me an independent study in economics because he knew I was interested in it. And this experience actually set the stage, not just for my career path, but for actually my philosophy on economic growth, which actually I don't believe all growth is good growth. Yes, economic development is making sure businesses are prosperous, and it is all about taxation and regulatory environment. But at its core, it's about communities and it's about people and making sure they too have opportunities to thrive. Third, it was in high school that I met the man who personifies the word home to me, no matter where we are, and that is my husband, Joel. Together we have 43 years, 2 children, and 5 very active grandsons. And in case you doubt that, just ask the wait staff at Mythos. And enough school stories to fill a school library. But finally, the foundation of my faith was formed here at home. My faith carried me through a broken neck in high school. It carried me through late-stage cancer several years ago, and it has carried me through everything in between, all of life's challenges and joys, and through a career that gives me great purpose and meaning. My faith has also, though, kept me grounded. As I said, I have traveled the world, been in the intimate company of world leaders, negotiated billion-dollar development deals with tech giants and titans of industry. But what I will remember most as the director of the Iowa Economic Development and the Iowa Finance Authority is how we helped Iowans in their most vulnerable moments, through flooding and tornadoes, and especially through COVID-19 pandemic. In early March of 2020, Joel and I missed our flight to the south of France, where we planned to celebrate my 60th birthday with our son and his family. I'd gotten the departure date wrong. Now me, a seasoned traveler, right? I realized it when we went to check in, the plane had already taken off. I understand now that this was God's will, for I never left the office, as our agency turned into Relief Central for the state, standing up new programs with no playbook and no experience. Our team gave hope to so many Iowans through relief and recovery efforts, from homeowners to small business owners, farmers, and communities. For me, though, the pandemic was the biggest professional test of my life. And even then, Joplin was with me. At my own personal most vulnerable moment, my brother Brian calls. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, we all must choose what role we will play when it matters most. Will we play the weatherman who is paid to predict the future, focused on ever-changing external factors, and is often wrong, right? Or will we play the pilot whose job is to simply land the plane? No matter the weather conditions, no matter the distractions. It was our job to land the plane, and we did. In fact, Iowa had the fastest economic recovery through the pandemic, according to Wallet Hub. You know, I am one to look forward, not back. But I'm so grateful for each chapter of my life has been shaped by loved ones, teachers, mentors, colleagues, and by the very grace of God. And all of that, I'm proud to say, started right here at home. So I will close with a quote from Henry Drummond, both a scientist and an evangelist, that says, "Strength of character may be learned at work, but beauty of character is learned at home." So thank you, and God bless you.
Keep those applause going. Come on, keep them calm. No. Huh. If that doesn't fill your cup, I don't know what will. But we got more. But wait, there's more. By the way, at the end of the evening, we will adjourn outside these doors, and there will be ballots that you may vote for those you think deserve to be in Alumni Hall of Fame as well. So, along with other things and chances to take some photos right outside those doors. As we move on, here we go. Our final inductee. We've been waiting for this moment. Dan L. Stanley. Video.
And finally tonight, we honor the remarkable life and legacy of Dan L. Stanley, dedicated family man, successful businessman, community leader, and servant of faith. Born on October 28, 1945 in Joplin, Missouri, Dan has spent a lifetime building a legacy rooted in integrity, service, and impact. A proud graduate of Columbia Elementary, North Junior High, and Joplin High School's class of 1963, Dan pursued high education at Westminster College in Fulton, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in economics in 1967. Dan's educational journey later included specialized training at the Bank Marketing School at the University of Colorado and the Stonier Graduate School of Banking at the University of Delaware. From 1967 to 1969, Dan honorably served on active duty with the United States Army, where he rose to the rank of First Lieutenant and was awarded the Joint Service Commendation Medal. Dan's professional career began in the auto industry when, at the age of 24, he was called to take over the Ford dealership in Joplin a year after the death of his father. He became the Subaru and Oldsmobile dealer here as well. In the mid-1980s, Dan also became a partner in a Ford dealership in Denver, Colorado, further expanding his leadership in the automotive industry. He then returned to Joplin and was a vice president at Mercantile Bank from 1986 to 1992. From 1992 until 2023, Dan served as a financial advisor at Edward Jones, where his leadership and client commitment earned him repeated recognition, including 26 consecutive years in the top 3% of financial advisors. Dan says Jim Goodnight was instrumental in introducing him to the Edward Jones family. Through the generosity of Mr. Goodnight, a plan for their partnership was developed. The initial plan, Dan reveals, was actually written out on a napkin at a McDonald's on South Main Street. Whatever the formula, the Goodnight plan proved an immense success and has actually been followed by thousands of Edward Jones employees since. Beyond business, Dan's more important titles are husband, father, and grandfather. He married Melanie O'Flaherty in 1967, and together they raised 4 sons, Matthew, Ryan, Logan, and Adam. Their family has grown to include 3 daughters-in-law and 9 beloved grandchildren. A lifelong man of faith, Dan is a committed member and elder at the First Presbyterian Church in Joplin. It was here that Dan was first recruited to lead a local fundraising effort when elders of the church came to him with a proposal and a dream to build a new sanctuary. With the help of leaders and members in the church, that dream became a reality. Throughout his life, Dan has been honored for his outstanding service and leadership. Among his many accolades, Distinguished Military Graduate, Westminster College, Outstanding Young Men of America, 1976, James A. Goodnight Award of Excellence, Edward Jones Outstanding Citizen of the Year, Joplin Chamber of Commerce, 1997, Distinguished Citizen Award, Boy Scouts of America, Pathfinder Award, one of 10 men and women who have led the way. Joplin Globe 2015. Through the years, Dan's commitment to community has been unwavering. He has chaired and served on the boards of the United Way, the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, Children's Miracle Network, Freeman Foundation, Jasper County Cancer Society, the Joplin Schools Foundation, Connect to Culture, and many more. Because improving community health has always been important to him, Dan was asked to play a key role in the Regional Medical School Alliance, helping to bring the KCU medical and dental schools to the region, initiatives that will benefit generations to come. Dr. Larry McIntyre of Joplin says, Dan has been an impactful member of the Joplin Regional Medical School Alliance for greater than 10 years, and he continues to serve as its treasurer. He is a constant source of encouragement and is supportive of and engaged in regional projects designed to benefit others. From humble beginnings to extraordinary influence, Dan L. Stanley's story is not just a resume, it's a legacy of purpose, perseverance, and passion. Thank you, Dan, for a lifetime of service.
A big hand for Dan Stanley.
Thank you. That's very emotional to see your life on the big screen. I have heard about you from your brother for many years, and I am thrilled to have the opportunity to meet you, and I just have so much respect for all that you've accomplished. And your brother is very proud of you and will talk about you frequently. But he called me yesterday to congratulate me, and we had a great conversation. We're dear friends. We were competitors, but we were very friendly competitors. And he said, yes, I know Debbie will be there tomorrow night, and I'm still afraid of her. And I said, well, my sister will be there tomorrow night, and I'm still afraid of her. And Vance, I never have had really the privilege to meet you, but of course you worked with Melanie's brother Martin O'Flaherty and Walking on Einstein, so that's a great, and that friendship and relationship continues. So this is a real treat, and to hear about Mr. Allen is just amazing. And then I'm going to reference Jack Holden in my comments, and you'll know how I feel about him. You all know that I must stay on script. Well, you'll be here a while. So I'm going to stay on script tonight. I want to thank everyone who had a part in me receiving this recognition. This honor truly is a huge highlight of my life. I love my upbringing and education in Joplin, and I cherish all of the memories of those years. I will especially cherish tonight's memory. I have so much respect for the previous recipients of this honor, and definitely do not feel worthy to be placed in the same category of achievement with them. I congratulate the past recipients, and I congratulate and celebrate with tonight's recipients. My comments are under the title of Living a Fulfilling Life is a Team Sport. According to the noted author and speaker Simon Sinek, success is a team sport. I've modified that saying in my own way of thinking with living a fulfilling life is a team sport. I've been blessed since birth with an amazing team around me, loving me, caring for me, educating me, supporting me, and nurturing me. I love the word nurture. I want to give you a couple of real brief definitions of the word nurture that I think really resonate with me. I hope they resonate with you. Nurture involves providing what is needed emotionally, mentally, or physically for a person to thrive. To nurture another is to see their potential and let it bloom. and I'm looking at Vance, and I'm looking at Debi, and I'm looking in the mirror. My team is a very big team, and it's a very long list. And I could tell side stories about every person or group that I mentioned, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to mention my team. My parents, Dan and Mary Stanley. My sisters, Mary, Dan, and Martha. I'm going to get it together right now. The entire Stanley family, the entire Casab family, the entire O'Flaherty family, my church, the First Presbyterian Church. This is one short line, but you all are in it. And I could tell story after story and have memory after memory, and this is the short line. My dear friends in every stage of my life and in every place we've lived. All of my classmates in the Joplin schools, especially the class of 1963. And most recently, as we do a reunion every 5 years, it's John McClary and Linda Setzer and Charles Buchanan, because we're the committee that kind of coordinates those reunions. The class of 63 is very special to all of us, the 427 that graduated, and about 60% of those that survive, that still live. All of my teachers and counselors in the Joplin schools, and I would like to tell two stories about two of them who had huge impact on my life. Ted Clowers, Coach Clowers, and Jack Holden, Mr. Holden. I never called him Ted, I never called him Jack, I called him Coach, and I called him Mr. Holden. In the 8th grade, I tried out for the basketball team at North Junior High. Coach was going to select 12 players for the B team. I was the 13th pick. I love sports, I love basketball, and I idolized my friends on the team. He asked me to be his first student manager and come to every practice and fill in on the court when needed. That changed my life. I was a student manager for both basketball and football all through junior high and high school. I cherished my friendship with Coach Clowers and his influence on my life. I'm so grateful he was on my team. He became a huge role model for me. Jack Holden. In our sophomore year, one of our classmates, Marilyn Thompson, was killed in a tragic car accident. She was very popular and everyone thought the world of her. It hit the high school hard and it hit our class very hard. I was on the student council, and in my senior year I was president of the student council. Seatbelts were just being introduced in the country and their use was encouraged but not required. Mr. Holden coordinated with Mr. Greer, our principal, and with Mr. Johnson and with Jack Holden, the sponsors for our student council, and arranged that I would go to Jeff City and speak before the state legislature and encourage them to address car safety, especially the use of seatbelts among teenagers throughout the state. This was my first real exposure and experience with getting politically involved and speaking to adults about a very serious topic. I'm eternally grateful to Jack Holden for that real-world opportunity. I matured greatly through that whole experience, and I'm honored that Jack Holden was on my team. Back to my list. My team definitely consists of my fraternity brothers and Beta Theta Pi at Westminster College. It definitely consists of Dr. Bosch and Mr. Johnson, my accounting professors at Westminster College, because there was not a business major at Westminster in 1963. There was not a marketing major at Westminster. It was economics. But I had an interest in accounting, and I also had comfort in doing accounting. But I never realized with taking 4 years of accounting class, every one that they offered, that I would come back and become the Ford dealer at the age of 24 and be forever thankful that I knew accounting and could follow the meetings with our business manager and with our CPA. On June 24th of 1967, I married the co-captain of my team, Melanie Mary Margaret O'Flaherty Stanley. She has been loving me and nurturing me every day since. She keeps me focused on the right values in life. My personal kitchen cabinet, with whom I would counsel about my potential career change, it turned out there were 6 of them, were Gil Stevens, Kyle Craig, Larry Hickey, and Peter Brown. Pete is a fraternity brother and an attorney in Kansas City. Gil, thank you for being on my team. This is another one-liner that I could tell story after story and just get very emotional and just be flooded with memories. All of my clients that I've had the privilege of getting to know and serving over my 32 years with Edward Jones. My partners and associates at Edward Jones, wherever Don is sitting, my sons, Philip, especially Jim Goodnight, who invited me to become his partner in 1992 and changed the life of the entire Stanley family and actually the life of the entire firm of Edward Jones. My branch business partners, the best of the best, Linda Strickling, Stella Maxwell, Patty Shoemaker, Rhonda Hatfield, and Mary Biddix in Raleigh, North Carolina. Again, a one-liner, multiple stories, multiple projects, multiple activities, multiple committees. The wonderful men and women with whom I have worked on civic committees and projects. Our outstanding 4 sons, Matthew, Ryan, Logan, and Adam, all graduates of Joplin High School. I nurtured them early on in life, and now they are nurturing me, and I mean that. Our amazing daughter-in-laws, Amanda, Emily, and Lucy, and our multi-talented grandchildren, Dell, Jack, Anna Pearl, Reed, Mary Ann, Piper, Elizabeth, Nicholas, and James. And Reed and Mary Ann, I am thrilled you are here tonight and understand why the others cannot be. All the countless people who have come into my life, these are my team, this is my team. All the countless number of people who have come into my life at the most unexpected times, in the most unanticipated ways, who befriended me and nurtured me. Thank you so much for this honor. It allowed me the opportunity to not only think about, but also list the many people who have been members of my team through my life. I have been loved, I've been supported, I've been nurtured beyond comprehension by so many people in so many ways. And I know that you also have a list very similar to mine. I want you to know that I am living a fulfilling life, and it is a team sport. I'm still living it. And besides of being grateful for my amazing team, I want to tell you why I am still living it. The greatest joy I have after these 80 years of being loved and nurtured is to nurture others. I want to do anything and everything I can to see our 9 grandchildren thrive and bloom. I also want to do that for everyone else who comes into my life. Thank you for this special honor. Thank you for being on my team and nurturing me, and go Eagles.
Another big hand, Dan Stanley. Here we go. And the onions are really strong tonight. Meet those brought. Woo! It's amazing, man. Has this not been amazing? I mean, come on. Like, this is the foundation. This is the foundation that those little kindergartners running around, those kids at Irving, this is the foundation, the shoulders they get to stand on. Are there any better ones? Are there any stronger ones? Not going to happen. Nowhere in the country, nowhere else in the world can you experience life like you can experience it right here. And so for that, you guys give your big hands. Big hand, big hand. And if we could get all of the recipients tonight, if you could just come and stand, can we have them on stage to take a picture? All the recipients, yeah. If you got one of their plaques, come on up. Means you're a big deal. And
I made a huge mistake earlier. I didn't actually thank one of the most important people, and that's my wife, Diana, and my daughter, Tia. Now, first of all, they're on a cruise, going to Cabo, so, but yeah, I kind of screwed that up.
Just when I think you can do anything stupider, you go and totally redeem yourself, man. And we have this on tape too, so. If we can get you to come up here, we're just gonna take a picture. We're gonna take a picture of everyone together. And when they do, it's standing ovation time. So if the old knees have locked up, you might want to go ahead and start working them out there a little bit. I don't know about you, but I wake up and I feel like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz sometimes. I need an oil can with me at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have a rousing applause for our recipients tonight. Come on, you can do better. Here we go!
Go Bears! Go Bears!
Hey. Thank you all so much for making this an amazing evening. Thank you for everyone who helped make the meal and the decoration. And we love you, Vance, and all the recipients. Now, right outside the door, we're going to be taking some pictures. If you'd like to visit and chew the fat, so to speak, we invite you outside the doors to do that. Get your ballot and find a way to get involved with the foundation as well. Thank you. Bless you.